So you've saved up a bunch of money and you're thinking, bam, here's my down payment. I've got what I need. I'm ready to buy a house. Well, you're almost there. Let's talk about closing costs. What the heck are those? I'm Cory with Southern Charm Realty. Let's take a deeper look. So closing costs differ between the buyer and the seller. On the buy side, you've got loan expenses like underwriting fees or loan origination fees, which is basically a service charge from your lender. Prepaid interest points, like if you were to buy down your interest rate. You got upfront mortgage insurance premiums, also known as funding fees, depending on your type of loan. And you've got title insurance, which protects both the lender and the borrower against any unforeseen defects in the chain of title. You got your escrow items, which are typically some sort of prepayment for your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. And then there's the fun government fees like recording and documentary stamps. This isn't quite everything, but you're starting to get the idea. So I'm sure you're going, what the heck is this going to cost me? Well, it varies depending on whether you're cash, conventional, or government-backed financing. Yes, cash buyers still have closing costs, but they're typically lower since they won't have any lender fees. A buyer is generally going to spend between 3 and 5% of the total home purchase price towards closing costs. Cash and conventional are closer to 3%, while your government-backed loans, FHA, VA, USDA, are all closer to 5%. So next, let's look at it from the seller's perspective. On the seller side, you have things like title searches and lien searches to make sure the property rights or title will properly convey. Then you've got recording fees and documentary stamps again. And if there's an HOA, they'll have an estoppel fee, which is a statement that shows that the seller was on time with their payments and if they had any special assessments due. They'll also contribute a prorated amount towards property taxes owed for the year, which will be held in the buyer's escrow account. And finally, there's the broker commission. This gets split between the buyer's agency and the seller's agency. So what all does it end up costing? Well, again, it varies transaction to transaction, but a seller will usually pay between 6 and 10% of the purchase price in closing costs. So at the end of the day, everything is negotiable, right? And closing costs are one of the most negotiated pieces of a real estate transaction. The success rate really depends on the market. In a buyer's market, sellers giving concessions towards closing costs can be pretty common, but in a seller's market, it gets a little tricky, especially when there's multiple offers involved. Not to say that it can't be done, it just takes the right agent. All right, guys, I hope this provided some clarity and gave you a better idea of what to expect. Thanks again for tuning in. All of my contact information is below. This is Cory with Southern Charm Realty signing off. I will see y'all next week.